In the gripping finale of our latest episode, Haejun finds herself thrust into a tense encounter with the formidable Haein in the gallery hall. Haein's seething resentment towards Haejun, fueled by Yihan's choice of Haejun over her, ignites a storm of cutting remarks intended to tear Haejun down. In a biting display of insincerity, Haein offers a sarcastic apology to Haejun, attempting to justify her venomous words as mere curiosity about Yihan's girlfriend. However, encountering Haejun unexpectedly soothes her troubled heart in ways she never imagined. Haejun, though silent, can't help but be astonished by the existence of someone like Haein, radiant on the outside yet harboring such malevolence within. It feels like she's caught in the midst of a gripping drama unfolding before her eyes. Suddenly, a voice interrupts, incredulous that Haein could find solace in something so trivial. It's Yuhan, unexpectedly joining the conversation, catching both Haejun and Haein off guard. He muses that art galleries, typically associated with the sale of art, might also serve as arenas for emotional healing. Despite immediately recognizing Yuhan, Haein feigns ignorance, prompting Yuhan to playfully question her awareness, highlighting the intricacies of their entangled relationships. Haein's retort, insisting on her innocence due to their shared history, only serves to emphasize the depth of their tangled emotions. In the end, Haein's final jab, dismissing Yuhan's understanding due to his youth, reveals more about her own insecurities than anything else. Yuhan, with his playful demeanor, confidently asserts to Haein that despite being a student, he possesses the maturity to comprehend such matters. He finds amusement in Haein's seemingly nonsensical remarks. Despite Haein's obvious irritation with Yuhan's words, he persists, suggesting that her manner of speaking in the prestigious Seomoon gallery implies a superiority in wealth. Irritated, Haein demands Yuhan to look at her, to which he provocatively leans in, asking for clarification. As Haejun observes Yuhan's interaction with Haein, she recalls Yuhan's cautionary words about him. Yuhan proceeds to mock Haein's business and lifestyle, further escalating her irritation. It becomes clear to Haejun why Yuhan had warned her about Yuhan's behavior. After some time, Yuhan redirects his attention to Haejun, initiating a conversation with her. He introduces himself and inquires whether Yuhan had mentioned him. Haejun responds with a warm smile, confirming Yuhan's mention of Yuhan. However, Haein interrupts, expressing disbelief at Yuhan's perpetual immaturity. She questions whether a doctor like Haejun should tolerate such behavior. While acknowledging Haein's remark, Haejun maintains her poise, choosing not to engage further. Haein's frustration deepens as she observes Haejun's serene demeanor, underscoring her belief in the importance of one's background. Haejun finally breaks her silence, confronting Haein with a firm retort. She asserts that while she may not hail from a renowned family, she was never taught to belittle another family's cherished daughter. When Haein proudly mentions her affiliation with Juhan Bank, Haejun advises her that if she's going to boast about such a reputable institution, she should strive to be deserving of it. Haejun's inquiry about Haein's employment at the bank appears to unsettle her. However, Haejun, in her own introduction, only mentions her work at Jaeil Hospital because she believes in doing her job to the best of her ability. Haein, visibly enraged, dismisses the situation as ridiculous, accusing Haejun of finding courage only now that someone is on her side. Haejun clarifies that her earlier silence was not due to newfound support but rather her intention to maintain a demure demeanor for the day. Today's exchange, however, has prompted her to realize several things, and she requests to be excused. In response, Haein demands clarification on what exactly Haejun has realized. Haejun turns back with a pointed reply, questioning if Haein truly needs it spelled out for her. Without hesitation, Haejun announces her immediate intention to withdraw all of her money from Juhan Bank. Haein erupts into a frenzy, attempting to stop Haejun from leaving, but her friends intervene to calm her down. In her agitation, Haein withdraws her hand abruptly, causing a glass to slip and fly toward Haejun and Yuhan. The shattering sound reverberates through the room, followed by the piercing cry of pain from someone. As the glass hurtles towards Haejun, Yuhan reacts swiftly, pulling her out of harm's way and intercepting the glass with his own hand. The glass shatters upon impact, causing immediate bleeding from Yuhan's hand. He cries out in pain, clutching his injured hand as he sits down. Concerned, Haejun asks if he's alright, to which Yuhan grimaces and describes the sensation as if his hand has been sliced off. Without hesitation, Haejun instructs Haein to call an ambulance instead of causing a scene. While Haein's friend dials for help, Yuhan rushes over, his expression filled with urgency. He demands to know what's happening, and Haejun informs him of his brother Yuhan's injury. Yuhan questions Yuhan's actions in front of their guests, but Yuhan vehemently denies any wrongdoing. Haejun steps in, guiding Yuhan to lay down as she begins to assess his condition. She carefully examines his hand, instructing Yuhan to check if his fingers are moving, starting with the pinky. After determining that his bones and ligaments seem intact but he'll require at least 20 stitches, she focuses on stemming the bleeding for now. Yihan offers his assistance, and Haejun acknowledges there's one thing he can do. With a determined expression, she rises to her feet and approaches Yihan. Despite his astonishment, she calmly requests him to untie his tie from his collar. With a reassuring smile, she explains that she needs to borrow it. Haejun swiftly improvises a tourniquet using Yihan's tie to staunch the bleeding. As the moments pass, the ambulance arrives, and Haejun briefs the medical team, explaining that she has temporarily halted the bleeding, urging them to proceed accordingly. The nurse expresses gratitude to Haejun for her quick thinking and action. Yihan's mother, overwhelmed with emotion, begins to cry, unable to contain her tears. She turns to Haejun, asking for a handkerchief and inquiring if Haejun is truly in shock because she believed such incidents didn't affect her. Haejun admits that typically, Yihan is unaffected by such events. Observing Yihan and Haejun engaged in conversation, Yihan's mother questions whether Haejun still harbors suspicions about them. She tries to reassure Haejun, emphasizing that she has witnessed Haejun's character and believes the relationship between Yihan and Haejun is genuine. Haejun, conceding, acknowledges that perhaps she was mistaken. As they depart from the scene, Haejun reflects that she may have misjudged the situation, indicating a willingness to reconsider her earlier doubts. Haejun offers reassurance to Yihan, comforting him with the assurance that he'll be all right. Yihan, visibly shaken, expresses his gratitude, admitting his fear at the thought of what could have happened without her intervention. He grasps Haejun's dress, expressing a desire to learn more about her. Suddenly, Yihan intervenes, his expression stern as he demands that Yihan release Haejun's dress. Startled, Yihan immediately withdraws his hand and leaves with the medical team in the ambulance. Confused by Yihan's reaction, Haejun watches him closely, trying to make sense of his demeanor. Approaching Haejun, Yihan calls out her name. She turns to him, acknowledging the tense situation. Haejun assures Yihan that there's no need for concern, but Yihan insists that he'll worry if he wants to. Haejun apologizes, recognizing that Yihan is Yihan's younger brother. However, Yihan clarifies that his concern wasn't for Yihan. Perplexed, Haejun struggles to understand Yihan's anger. Haejun hastily explains that she hadn't intended to cause a scene, apologizing to Yihan if she upset him. Yihan assures her that no apology is necessary, reminding her of their partnership. Despite this, Haejun resolves to be more cautious in the future, determined to avoid any further misunderstandings. Haejun expresses her profound relief that Yihan escaped severe injury, acknowledging the immense fear their mother must have endured. Yihan, observing his mother conversing with Haejun, bluntly informs Haejun that in their family, anything beyond their immediate sight is utterly disregarded. This revelation dawns on Haejun, crystallizing the understanding that their family is not harboring hidden secrets but rather immersed in perpetual familial drama. As Haejun announces her brief departure to use the restroom, Yihan intervenes, gripping her hand tightly to halt her. He questions how she could expect him to allow her to wander off alone again. Haejun reassures him, asserting that she had no intention of causing trouble previously. Yihan, exasperated, laments that her innocence only complicates matters further, gently adjusting her sleeve with his hand. Both Haejun and Yihan are poised to speak, but Haejun defers to Yihan. Apologizing sincerely, Yihan acknowledges the distress he caused Haejun throughout the day, admitting his lapse in judgment regarding the guests. He implores Haejun to inform him of any remarks made by the guests, vowing to prevent such incidents in the future. Haejun, undisturbed, asserts her acceptance, confidently stating that she understands the reasons behind the guests' behavior. Yihan, bewildered, questions how she could remain unaffected by the ordeal. Amused, Haejun teasingly questions his comprehension, playfully suggesting that he truly wants to know why. In a shocking revelation, Haejun discloses to Yihan that her composure stems from her lack of romantic feelings towards him. Yihan is dumbfounded by her confession. Leaning in, Haejun whispers a truth that rattles Yihan to his core: only someone deeply in love with a man being fought over would be upset by such circumstances. Therefore, her calm demeanor serves as irrefutable proof of her lack of romantic attachment. Yihan, stunned, grapples with this unprecedented revelation. Haejun's words reverberate in Yihan's mind for a fleeting moment. However, before she can continue, she makes a remark about jealousy in dramas, but Yihan interrupts her, signaling that he understands. Without another word, he strides off into the gallery. Haejun hesitates but then halts Yihan, inquiring about her bonus. Recalling his promise, she assures her that she will receive it. Though grateful, Haejun remains perplexed by Yihan's earlier expression, wondering why he appeared troubled despite agreeing to give her the bonus. Suddenly, she questions if he's upset about his tie, offering to cover the cost herself. Haejun cheerfully offers, assuming it couldn't be too expensive. Yihan drops a bombshell, the tie cost 10 million. Haejun freezes in disbelief, questioning if Yihan is joking. He asserts that he's not, explaining that he never jokes about money and that her bonus will cover the tie's cost. In the solitude of the shower, Yihan grapples with Haejun's remark about not loving him. He wonders if her words hold truth, questioning whether Haejun truly harbors no feelings for him. In the morning at the hospital, Haejun is lost in thought when Juno snaps her back to reality, questioning why she isn't eating. Haejun, preoccupied, admits she wanted to eat but feels burdened by debt. Juno probes further, asking what happened this time, if another patient ran away. Haejun abruptly interrupts, asking Juno if he's aware that a tie could cost 10 million won. Juno pauses, taken aback by the sudden question. Haejun, frustration evident, snaps that as a man who wears ties, he should know how absurd it is for one to be priced so exorbitantly. Confused by her outburst, Juno questions why she's so upset and why she's suddenly fixated on the cost of a tie. Haejun demands an answer before she'll explain, prompting Juno to admit that while he occasionally wears elastic ones, he's never heard of a tie costing 10 million won. He scoffs at the idea, wondering aloud where such ties could even be sold, though he speculates that chaebols might have access to them. Haejun's spirit shatters upon hearing this, and she breaks down in tears. Juno urges her to leave the cafeteria, scooping her up and carrying her away. As they exit, a group of people approaches, and among them stands a tall man who boldly confronts Haejun. It's Chon-sung who inquires if Haejun has finished her lunch. Haejun confirms that she has. Juno, feeling ignored, questions if Chon-sung is invisible to him since he hasn't greeted him. However, Chon-sung disregards Juno and continues speaking to Haejun, noting that it's a bit early for her to be done eating and inquiring if she has surgery scheduled soon. Before Haejun can respond, Chon-sung admonishes her for making things difficult for herself, suggesting she delegate tasks to her interns. He then introduces his interns, mentioning that they attended the same school as Haejun, who enthusiastically greet her. Chon-sung extends an invitation for Haejun to join them for lunch, but she politely declines. Chon-sung insinuates that she may believe he still has feelings for her, but Haejun tries to clarify, only to be interrupted by Chon-sung. He points out that his interns are eager to learn about their alma mater, urging her to join them and share stories about their time as medical students and interns. Despite his persistence, Haejun apologizes, citing her busy schedule. Chon-sung continues to press her, promising not to misinterpret the situation and insisting they simply have a meal together. However, Haejun stands her ground, expressing her belief that misunderstandings would arise, and excuses herself, leaving Chon-sung irritated and frustrated. In the lobby later, Juno expresses disbelief at Shan-sung's persistence despite Haejun's numerous rejections, suggesting that he might have come to jail solely for her. Haejun recalls how she had told Chon-sung they could only be friends, and now he seizes every opportunity to bring up their friendship. Juno adds that he's heard Shan-sung's family is extremely wealthy. Hearing this, Haejun irritably remarks on the luxury of Shan-sung's situation, speculating that he likely has over 78 million won in his bank account. Juno attempts to soothe her, advising her to rest while the room is empty. As Haejun sits, she reflects on her life, feeling overwhelmed. Juno suggests she could seek donations from Hankook University, but Haejun cynically suggests she might as well beg with a tin can when she's homeless. Juno offers Haejun her favorite flavored candy, noticing her unusual behavior and asking what's truly bothering her, as he suspects it's not just about the money. Haejun brushes off his concern, but internally, she can't shake the image of Yihan's pained expression from the previous night. However, she pushes the thought aside and resolves to focus on her patients. Standing up, she comments that she should get back to work to earn more money and pay off her debt. As she begins to leave, Juno informs her that the head of the department mentioned the planning director is constructing a new VIP ward. In Yihan's office, he mulls over Haejun's words from the previous night, particularly her assertion that she's not in love with him. He concludes that she's determined to keep their relationship strictly professional. Despite this understanding, Yihan finds himself grappling with conflicting emotions. The director interrupts Yihan's thoughts, informing him about the predominance of VIPs seeking surgeries at jail that they can't obtain elsewhere. While acknowledging the necessity of a VIP ward, Yihan disagrees with the idea of burdening their already busy residents with additional responsibilities, suggesting fellows instead. He cynically remarks on the notion of expecting overworked staff to cater to VIP patients like family doctors, implying the impracticality of such an arrangement. The director attempts to clarify, emphasizing that they won't be forcing the residents but rather offering additional compensation. However, he acknowledges potential resistance to the increased workload despite the incentive. Yihan immediately recalls someone who would willingly take on the challenge. After agreeing with the director's plan to align with other hospitals, Yihan dismisses him. As the director exits, he mentions admitting a guest who's been waiting to meet Yihan. Yihan amusingly entertains the thought that it might be Haejun at the door, but to his surprise, it's his younger brother, Yoon. Just moments ago, the director was strategizing intensely, desperate to win Yihan's favor as his circumstances worsened. Suddenly, his gaze falls upon Yoon in the hospital's indoor garden. Sensing an opening, the director swiftly ushers Yoon inside, convinced that leveraging family connections is crucial in climbing the ladder. However, upon witnessing Yihan's unexpected reaction, the director is dumbfounded. It's as though Yihan has shattered the last remaining thread of hope the director clung to. Yihan sternly orders Yoon to leave immediately, oblivious to his brother's predicament. Yoon gestures with frustration, reminding Yihan of his recent near-death experience and subsequent hand injury. He questions why Yihan is displaying such hostility toward his own flesh and blood. But Yihan, undeterred, challenges Yoon's accusation of inhospitality, questioning whether Yoon even comprehends the term. Yihan demands to know Yoon's motive for showing up this time, insinuating it's about money. However, Yoon swiftly dispels this notion, revealing he's here to offer Yihan an opportunity. Piquing Yihan's curiosity, Yoon discloses that he's extending the privilege of being his guardian, citing his minor status as the reason. Ignoring Yoon's proposal, Yihan brushes it off, asserting that if Yoon needs medical attention, he can seek it elsewhere in the hospital. Unfazed, Yoon insists they head to cardiothoracic surgery, emphasizing that this is a unique chance for Yihan to fulfill the role of guardian, a bond only siblings can share. This, Yoon declares, is Yihan's chance to step up. After some time, Haejun attempts to clarify to Yoon that he's mistaken, asserting that she's an expert at reading hearts. He claims to have researched and discovered that the major arteries around his wrists connect directly to the heart. Ever since the accident, he's been experiencing a tingling sensation from his fingertips to his heart, and he wants to ensure it's nothing serious. Haejun inwardly sighs, finding Yoon's explanation both plausible and absurd. Adding to her frustration is Yihan's silent presence as his supposed guardian. Taking charge of the situation, Haejun reassures Yoon that the injury from that night has nothing to do with his heart, so there's no need to worry. Yihan questions her certainty, insisting that if she looks closely, she'll surely find something wrong with him. Haejun dismisses his skepticism, likening him to Chairman Seo. Yihan fixes her with a sharp gaze, demanding to know what she means by, "Don't be like what?" Haejun immediately reassures Yoon that he's fine and there's no need to worry. However, Yoon persists, describing how he feels his heart drop, experiences anxiety, sweating, and difficulty breathing, as if his heart is going to stop. Haejun inquires about the occurrences, prompting Yoon to reluctantly admit that it happens when his brother chases after him. Without hesitation, Haejun employs a stethoscope to check Yoon's heartbeat, lifting his shirt to conduct a thorough examination. Observing Yihan's growing annoyance, Yoon realizes that this jealousy will only bring Yihan more pain. After the checkup, Haejun questions if there's a problem between the two of them, but they simultaneously dismiss her concerns. Haejun expresses her gratitude to Yoon for saving her that night and apologizes for any trouble she may have caused. However, Yoon insists that she shouldn't apologize, attributing the trouble to the lady from the bank. He suggests repaying her kindness by inviting her to dinner, but Haejun declines, citing her busy schedule for the day. Yoon persists, mentioning a nearby restaurant famous for its tteokbokki, a popular and affordable Korean snack. However, his offer is met with silence from the room, leaving Yoon puzzled as to why his attempt to charm didn't work.